El exec, el exec, el exec. El Vélez, el Vélez, el Vélez. El fenómeno que todos quieren ser. El chamaquito que no pueden entender.
How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 124 of the Exec Talk podcast. I am your host, El Velez. How are we doing? How we doing? All right. So we got Formula One this week, Hungarian Grand Prix at Spa. I believe it's in Spa. We have the U.S. Open started today. Guys, sorry about that. We have the Open Championship, or else known as the British Open in golf, starting today. Today's Thursday. I know I didn't have an episode for you guys today. I was too tired yesterday from work. It's kind of late right now, too. It's 9:10. Just finished eating. So, but it's a short one today. It's not a lot to cover. Just a couple things here and there. I'll start off with the All-Star game. Super fun. Teoscar won the home run derby by a foot. And I say a foot because Bobby Witt's last swing came within a foot of going out and tying him. It would have been a swing off. Or potentially Bobby would have gotten another swing. Other than that, there's the Summer League that's going on. We have the USA men's national team in basketball. They're destroying people. They destroyed Serbia. Had 24 from Steph. He went 6 for 9 from 3. If he's clicking like that, we're unbeatable just because of the spacing. Other than that, All-Star game was super cool. It finished 5-2. Shohei had a bomb in the third inning, second at bat, hit a bomb. And then the MVP of the game was Jarren Duran from the Red Sox. Surprise All-Star this year. Kid's great. Great combination of power and speed. And a great outfielder. And was a great game. Paul Skeens started and Corbin Burns started for the AL. Paul Skeens didn't get no strikeouts. Walked Soto. He actually got him silly on a splinker for his first strike, but Soto waited it out. Got on base, faced Aaron Judge, and one pitch popped him up, and that was it for Paul Skeens. It was an entertaining game. Pitching mostly dominated, but we had people on base. There was hits. There was like jams, and people getting out of jams. But after the Shohei home run, which was majestic, and I just felt it. I felt like he might go deep here. As soon as he swung the bat, I knew it was gone. I mean, it was like you could see it, the way he reacted, the way it sounded off the bat. Like it was poof. Went 405. Not the longest, but, definitely crushed. So that's 2-1. That's 2-0 NL. And out of nowhere, the AL comes back the next inning and ties it up. I believe it was 5-3 at that point. I believe it was either 2-0 or 5-3. Let me get you this, guys, real quick. It's been a couple days. It was on Tuesday. Yeah, so it was a 3-run home run by Shohei. And then the next inning, that was in the third. The next inning, AL ties it up with 3, Soto being a part of it. Being a big part of it. Soto doubles to center. Kwan scores. Simeon scored. That's 2. And then David Fry, singled to left, and then Soto scored 3-3. And then in the 5th, Duran homered 413 feet. a 2-run homer with Santander on the bases. And that was it. That was your AL MVP. Pitching really dominated after that. I mean, after the Shohei home run, pitching really dominated. It was a fun game. I think it's the best All-Star game by far just because they're playing the sport and they're actually trying to win and playing the sport at the highest level. Maybe not like the highest level because like Ellie could have stolen second and he didn't. So like if you're talking about stolen bases and stuff like that, being that aggressive and stuff like that, some people are in their career. Some people are. He's young. He's a first All-Star game, so maybe he don't want to step on no toes or make his own decisions and stuff like that, you know, because there's OGs and stuff. But by far, pitchers are on A game. They're trying to strike people out. Hitters are trying to hit it out of the park all the time. It's a fun atmosphere. And since baseball is just a series of one-on-one battles, whether it's pitcher versus hitter, whether it's ball versus out versus defense, whether it's a base stealer against catcher, there's a lot of one-on-one battles and baseball makes it so you can't fake it, you can't go soft because you will be noticed. It's like, oh, you're not giving maxed effort, and it's a pride thing. But shout out to the AL. I bet on it. I bet on it. My gut said the AL just because the lineup came true. Doesn't always, but it came true this time. Season restarts on Friday, so tomorrow. If we want to say that the trade deadline is going to be pretty important, I think that would be an understatement of massive proportions. So yeah, we have the Hungarian Grand Prix in Budapest. Max won last year. I expect Red Bull to maybe be not super dominant, but like definitely making a push to get back to the number one spot. But also, I also expect, I expect that Mercedes is going to keep the momentum going. And then McLaren is also going to keep the speed going. So it's going to be a good dichotomy between those three teams about who wants to dominate going in to the second half of the schedule. I think Mercedes has something, but I'm not sure if it's, I'm not sure if it's enough to maybe offset and, go over Red Bull if they come with a very, very strong and aggressive car. But I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Mercedes because I think they found something. Once again, they'll probably give the best car to George, but I expect Lewis to be fighting as well. All right. The Brickyard 400 is this weekend. The U.S., the British Open, the Open. It's at Royal Troon in Northern Ireland, so in Rory's turf. Rory's not doing too good right now. It's fellow Englishman Danny Brown. Is that his name? Yeah, Danny Brown at -6. Shane Lowry, fellow Irishman, at -5. Justin Thomas at -3. Noren, the Swede, at -2. And Hogard, one of the Hogard brothers, at -2. Big names besides Justin Thomas. We have Justin Rose at 4, tied for 4th at -2. Xander is at -2. Adam Scott, the Australian. He's at -1, tied for 11th. Sepp Straka from Hungary, -1. Brooks is at -1, so he started off slow, but Scotty's at -1, so he's still definitely in the mix. Matt Fitzpatrick at -1, the Open winner from last year no, Fitzpatrick was not the winner last year, was he? Cameron Smith was the Matt Fitzpatrick won the U.S. Open last year, I believe. If I get that wrong, my Mingwoo Lee is at even. Tony Finau's at even. And Jordan Spieth is at even. Billy Horschel's at +1. Who is struggling? I want to know. Harmon's at +2. That's a little bit Colin Morikawa +2. Cameron Young +2. Keegan Bradley +2. He's old though. Victor Hovland +4. Lud Overg +4. That's very uncharacteristic of them. Hideki Matsuyama, he's been doing strong, but he's at +4. Bryson DeChambeau +5. Super. And Max Homa, Will Zalatoris, all +5. That's super. So it's being a tough cookie. Like there's only 11 players at 1 under or better. 18 players. No, 11 players. And then there's from even to +1, there's 8. So in total, 18 players are under one over par. So it's playing like a tough course. I'll see more of it tomorrow. I wasn't able to catch a lot of it today. I was working a lot, and I just didn't want to hear it. Golf is like the thing I like to watch. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a very nice weekend of golf. All right, little things here that I've bookmarked on my Twitter. Let's see. Ryan Ramczyk, the offensive tackle for the Saints that have been having knee problems for the last better half of 2 to 3 years. He was put on the PUP list earlier. The physical unable to play list. And then, about 3 hours later, he is ruled out for the season. And at this time, at this point, I think he should retire, because if he can't even make it to the start of the season through off season and everything, like, that's tough. St. Lowry shoots a 66 for the first round of the Open, so he's off to a very strong start. The trade deadline for the MLB is fast approaching, and I follow Talking Baseball. Is cool ass baseball podcast that are super funny, but they know their stuff. Hosted by like Trevor Plouffe, which is a former Minnesota Twin pitcher. Actually, no, not a pitcher. I believe he wasn't a pitcher. I believe he was a catcher or first baseman, if I'm not mistaken. He played for the Twins. I remember watching him play for the Twins, but he's really good at this show. And his other 4 friends. But they said they did a little thing about guessing who's going to be where in trade deadline. And it was very interesting. Like, you got Jake, who's one of the hosts. He says Jack Flaherty from Detroit to LA to the Dodgers. I could see that, because Kershaw's not there. Yoshinobu Yamamoto's on the 60-day DL. Walker Buehler's still coming back slowly. Bobby Miller's just came back, so I could understand that. An interesting one I saw, but I've kind of talked about it, is, because they lost John Means, because they lost, their other really good, not Dean Kramer. The other really good pitcher. I'm talking about the Orioles. They're saying Garrett Crochet to the Orioles, and that would be crazy because then that would be Corbin Burns, Grayson, Garrett Crochet, Grayson Rodriguez, Jake Irvin. Like, that is a nasty, nasty, nasty rotation there. Another guy said Tanner Scott to the Dodgers. Would he take Phillips' place as the closer? I don't think so. Maybe just the bullpen. Tanner Scott from Miami would not, our only all-star, would not be surprised if he gets moved. And then Tyler Anderson to the Padres from the Angels is another suggestion or guess. Another one is Yusuke Kikuchi to the Houston Astros because of the injuries and JV not being JV, not having Christian Javier, only having Fromber, no Urquidy, no McCullers. So that would make sense. Luis Robert to the Phillies. I would not like that to happen. I would like Luis Robert to either go to the Yankees or go to a place like Kansas City and add that giant fourth bat behind a guy like Bobby Witt and a consistent bat like Salvador Perez. I just wouldn't like him as a Philly, man. Like, they already got too much. They already have too many riches. Like, they have an embarrassment of riches. A small move that I think is a small for me because, like, Brandon, hasn't really had a good season. But from the Angels to the Yankees, Brandon Drury, because they need a first baseman. I get it, but I feel like Vladdy would be better. Mason Miller, the Reaper, from the A's to the O's, and because they don't have the mountain, I would honestly like say that this move would be very, very smart. Then you put Cano back into his normal spot, which is the setup man in the 8th, and then you got the Reaper, Mason Miller, coming out for the 9th. That would be very good especially for the postseason. Justin Turner from the Blue Jays back to the Red Sox. Don't know what he would do there except add depth, I guess. Brent Rooker from the A's to the Mariners. That would help him a lot in that order and add a little bit more pop, especially since Julio's not having one of those crazy seasons. Maybe he'll wake up in the second half. I kind of plan that he does. But Brent Rooker would be a great addition to that lineup of power and a consistent power threat in that 3 or 4 hole right there. Then they say Ryan McMahon to the Yankees. Again, young player. I think that would be great for the Yankees. Ryan McMahon is a good hitter. Would add more power, more pop into that lineup after Judge, Soto. No Giancarlo's right now. No Rizzo. So McMahon would be one. But I still think Luis Robert would be the best option there, if not Vladdy. Then they said Isaac Paredes from Tampa Bay to the Houston Astros. And what I think about that is that's a good move because they lost Jose Abreu. They didn't lose. They DFA'd Jose Abreu. They need more pop in the lineup. Yes, you have Altuve, Jordan, Breggy, no Kyle Tucker right now. So to fill that gap of space and the Jose Abreu power that you're missing, Isaac Paredes would be a good addition there. So I like that move. Scherzer to the Dodgers would be interesting. He just came back for Texans. If the Texans feel like they're too far back and they're spending too much money, they might get rid of the future Hall of Famer. But to the Dodgers, to basically add to Kershaw, and then, I mean, that would be, use him as a spot starter. You don't even have to use him every start, but since Shinobu Yamamoto is not there and Kershaw, then it would be a good Max Scherzer, especially if you get Jack Flaherty as well. Also, with that addition. Then I'm seeing, Trevor said Jazz Chisholm to Atlanta. And what I'm thinking there is, would that be a replacement for Jared Kelenic? Because Jared Kelenic has that leadoff spot pretty cemented there. Maybe put him at 2, or they want him at the bottom of the lineup. Maybe he could wake up the bat again. He's doing okay, but he's not having like, this guy was the cover athlete of MLB The Show 2 years ago. So I expected him to do a lot more this year. Clearly he hasn't. So maybe in the A's he would. Who knows? I wouldn't like to trade him in the division though. That would not be smart. Kevin Pillar from the Angels to the Phillies. Just add another bat there. Carlos Estevez, the closer for the Angels to the Yankees, to replace Clay Holmes or put Clay Holmes into like a setup man role maybe, because he's a really good closer. So I don't know what they would want to do with Carlos. Nathan Eovaldi to the Twins. Now, I do not think nor would understand. Like, I would legit laugh at the Rangers. Like, this is your game 1 World Series starter, the guy who took you through the playoffs and allowed basically nothing. One of the best playoff pitchers of this last kind of era. Big game pitcher, can give you innings. I don't know why they would trade him, but the package must be crazy if they do. But I don't see that happening, especially to the Twins. Michael Kopech from the White Sox to the Yankees. Again, another closer. I'm guessing they want to like either add a setup man in the 8th or move Clay Holmes to the 8th and, give a new closer, whether it's Estevez, Kopech. Maybe they go after Mason Miller, which would be crazy. But Michael Kopech would be also a good trade. Kirby Yates from Texas, the new All-Star from Texas to San Diego to be a closer. They do need a closer. They don't really have a legit closer. So Kirby Yates there, that would be a very smart trade. Again, I don't know why Texas would just move away from all-star pieces and stuff like that. I just don't see it. Another one that's interesting that I kind of like, but also for the Washington Nationals, I wouldn't get because this is one of their best bats, is Jesse Winker to the Pirates. And yes, it would it would add a great, I wouldn't say great bat, but it would add a solid bat into that order with Brian Reynolds and O'Neal Cruz. You can maybe start them in position of Kutch, or, there's people in that, maybe if Triolo's not hitting, or, there's people in that lineup that Jesse Winker could definitely take over. I like the move. I just don't like it for the Nationals because it's one of their best players. Then we have Eric Fetty, the starter, going to Houston. That would make sense. I think he's a younger player. But if I'm Houston, if you're going to already dig into the White Sox well, why don't you go after Garrett Crochet? I know that you would need a lot more pieces. I mean, for the Yankees, they have to give up Spencer Jones plus a bunch of draft stuff to get Garrett Crochet. So maybe you don't want to do that, and you get his not his backup, but like the number 2 in that rotation right now, which is Eric Fetty, and been pitching well. That could be something good for Houston right there. Taylor Ward from the Angels to Seattle, another good bat, good power, speed. Not much, average speed, but Taylor Ward would be a great pickup for Seattle, in my opinion, bat wise. Kyle Quantrill from the Rockies to the Brewers, just a guy that can stabilize the rotation innings, so they don't have to like hit, go with Wilson and Tobias and all the rookies that they have, all the young arms. So just to add depth to that rotation. Ahmed Rosario from Rays to the Dodgers, just to add depth, I'm guessing, because that team is beyond stacked. Jonathan India from the Reds to Seattle. Don't understand this either. Jonathan India is having a good season, former Rookie of the Year in 2022. So I wouldn't think, or 2021, one of the two. I wouldn't think the Reds would trade one of their core pieces, but since he's not really on the timeline, he's a little bit older than everybody else on that team that's really like making an imprint, maybe, but the package must be pretty good. It would help Seattle a lot. It would give them an option to have JP first and India second, 2 speed guy threats. Then you bring Julio and then maybe Kyle Raleigh. But you know, I just don't see the Reds moving off of India while he's playing this good. Tommy Pham from the Sox to the Pirates would be a no-brainer. Another bat, savvy veterans, World Series champ, somebody that can be an OG in the locker room. So I don't hate that move. He's been playing pretty well. Danny Jansen from the Blue Jays to the Pirates. The Pirates, I mean, they're sending a lot of people to the Pirates. They want to send a lot of people. Danny Jansen would be a good bat. Other than that, I mean, I feel like the Pirates would have to make a bigger move than that. And lastly, Vladdy to Houston would shirt up the Jose Abreu DFA and put another superstar in first base. So that would make a lot of sense. I like that move. I don't know how much they would have to give up though. David Robinson from the Texans to the Red Sox, which would be ironic because he played in New York for so many years. Just depth into that bullpen. Hector Neris from the Cubs to the Yankees as a closer, I guess, or as a setup man, how he was in the Cubs. And then Yimi Garcia from the Blue Jays to the Yankees, probably more depth. Out of all of these, the ones that would be very, very good would be Garrett Crochet to the Orioles. I would say Luis Robert to the Phillies, although I don't want him to go to the Phillies. Mason Miller to the O's or the Yankees. Another one I miss is Luis Renifo from the Angels to the Dodgers. I guess they just want to give the Dodgers more depth. Jazz to Atlanta, but you have to see how Jazz is going to play. I like Carlos Estevez to the Yankees. I like Kirby Yates to the Padres. Jesse Winker to the Pirates, pretty good. And Vlad to Houston would be my last one that I would say that's pretty legit. Other than that, Jack Flaherty, Yusei Kikuchi, I like those, and Max Scherzer, of course. But those are kind of like the how the trade market is kind of setting up about who is going where, and maybe, you know, Seattle Seahawks. Abraham Lucas played us on the PUP list, so their second year or third year right tackle, I believe, is already on the PUP list. Well, that's not good. That's already four games. Teron Armstead is confident Tua Tagovailoa extension will happen. All our dreams, goals, and aspirations are reliant on, number one, the Dolphins know that, the organization knows that, the city and the league. Yes, we're going to pay him the extension. I just don't know if it's going to be the crazy extension that every other rookie quarterback coming off the rookie contract is getting. Just because of the health risk, I just don't think that the Dolphins will give him top dollar, knowing what they've known about him since Bama. Mike Williams is starting training camp on the PUPs list, so he can't even train yet, and he might miss first 4 games, so the Jets are already on the back foot. Devontae Adams shut down all rumors that he was getting traded to the Jets. He says that he's focused with the Raiders, and he's ready to go. The Rays have listened to offers about Randy Arozarena, Yandy Diaz, and Isaac Paredes. That's basically their whole team. That's literally their whole team. Randy's not having such a great season, but Yandy's having a great season. So is Isaac. But if they trade those pieces, that's it. I mean, I think that they're restarting for real, probably for a bunch of prospects. Remaining strength of schedule for the baseball as it sits, the hardest is the Red Sox, followed by the Rays, the Guardians, the Rockies, but they're not in it. Miami, they're not in it. Toronto, they're not in it. The Phillies at 7, that's going to be important. The Guardians at 3, pretty important as well. Red Sox at 1 because they fought back. You got the Pirates at 8. That'll be interesting. You got the O's at 12. They should be fine. Seattle at 14. The Reds smack dab at 15. Then you get some of the better teams with the easiest train schedule remaining, like the Brewers. You can maybe throw you got to throw KC in there at 18. Brewers at 16. Twins have been playing well. They're at 17. Houston has 19. They've been playing well. The Dodgers are at 20. Then you got Arizona at 22. The Rangers with 23, but they're kind of still teeter-totting. Padres at 25. You have Detroit at 26. The Yankees have the 27th easiest remaining left. Braves at the 28th. Cubs at the 29th, and then the Giants have the 30th. So interesting that, Phillies, Pirates, the Guardians have the 3rd hardest. Boston has the 1st hardest. And then the Orioles at 12, which I think they'll be fine. But, for the Pirates, Phillies, even the Blue Jays, they're at 6. But Guardians and Red Sox, I think, is going to be interesting to see how they do in the second half with that schedule. They're saying Malik Neighbors is a clone of Jamar Chase. We saw this at LSU. That's what his comparison was coming out of LSU. I'm not at all surprised. What I am going to be very surprised by at is if this goes into the season, because Daniel Jones, has to throw him the ball. It's just like the Justin Jefferson effect. Like, it doesn't matter if he's a rookie. He's going to be the best player on the field on your side, and you're going to have to feed him 10, 15, targets a game starting as a rookie. Like, it's just what you got to do. Russell Westbrook got traded to Utah. Utah's going to buy him out, and then he's going to Denver. Good backup point guard as the Bruce Brown role back into the team. That energetic, not as good of a shot maker, but can play defense, push the pace, and really add a different kick to that second unit. So I like the move, especially for the Nuggets, and they won't lose anything if it goes bad. And other than that, the Raiders would send Devontae Adams to the 49ers in any trade for Brandon Ayuk, but that's not going to happen. The Orioles and Dodgers have at the top of their shopping list Tarek Skubal. I didn't know that he was even on the block, because if I'm Detroit, I have really good pieces. You're talking about Riley Green and Spencer Torkelson, Tarek Skubal, Casey Mize. So I don't know why they would even think about getting rid of the possible AL Cy Young winner to this point. But it is the Orioles and Dodgers, and they're trying to make a World Series push on both sides. So that'll be a war for Tarek Skubal, and whoever lands him will have some of the sickest pitching rotation you've ever seen. The Orioles could have 2 Cy Young winners, or the Dodgers can have 2 Cy Young winners. Because Glass now is ridiculous. Quentin Miners, the guard for the Broncos, agreed to 4 years, $80 million extension. They call him the belly. He's making $24 million his first year. He's now a top 5 paid guard in the league. He has $45 million guaranteed. And then other than that, that's about it, guys. Like I said, not a lot to say. The USA team beat Serbia. Pretty plain and simple. They beat Australia too, but that was 98-92. What thing I gotta say about this team is this is not going to be a Jordan team where there's one guy dominating. This is not going to be a redeemed team when, 2-3 guys dominated. This is going to be any given night is going to be anybody. Anybody from Steph. It could be LeBron. It could be Tatum. It could be Ant. It could be Embiid. It could be KD. It could be Anthony Davis. Halliburton. Anybody off the bench can get buckets. And we saw that against Serbia. Interesting theory that Nick actually, I forgot who said it, but I think it was Skip Bayless, by the way. Shout out to Skip Bayless. He's leaving FS1. I don't know what he's going to do his next venture is, but he has been a legend in TV for a long time, and I watched a lot of First Take and a lot of Undisputed. So shout out to Skip. He said Serbia, played good the first quarter, 28-28, and then they kind of let off the gas because it's an exhibition game, which I get, but at the same time, you cannot, one thing is to okay, we got to stop 2-3 guys. No, you got to stop the whole, you can't stop nobody. Too much spaces. Steph is hitting his threes. LeBron bullying his way down the floor. You got Bam hitting threes off the bench. AD getting 6 blocks. You got 3 steals by Ant and scoring 16. You don't got nowhere. And that's without Booker going off. That's with no KD. That's, Joel Embiid still playing sluggish. That team is disgusting in every sense of the word. Other than that, guys, that's really about it for this week as we speak. Training camp has started. We'll see who are the hold-ins. We'll see who signs contracts. If anybody gets traded, I doubt it. But now we're going to see if these rookies, how they start showing out at camp. I'm excited to see that. But other than that, I love you guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the comments, hit the subscribe button. Come on, help a brother out. I love you guys. God bless, and I'll leave you with the outro.
Que no pueden entender.